All right, guys, please stop trying to go viral if you want to make money on YouTube. And I know, everyone's chasing those massive view counts and they think that that's the ticket to success, right? But after growing my channel to over 1 million subscribers and generating multiple six figures monthly from multiple different businesses, I've learned the brutal truth about YouTube. And this channel, for instance, just as an example, I was able to launch this channel from scratch, had 0 subscribers, and I made $30,000 in 1 month from this channel without going viral. Whereas there are tons of influencers out there that have millions of subscribers that might even struggle to make $30,000 in a single year. Okay. And most business owners, just because, hey, these influencers, it looks like they're successful, right? Most business owners are wasting thousands of dollars on fancy equipment and editing while they're completely missing what actually makes money on this platform, guys. So I'm making this video to help you with this because I get it. You're busy as hell. You're running your business, right? And somehow you're supposed to be a content creator as well. And you don't have time to waste creating random content hoping that something sticks. And that I'm too busy to be consistent excuse, I hear it from clients every day, right? Clients always say, oh, I'm too busy with this, I'm too busy with that. It's just not true. So what if I told you the secret isn't going viral? Because that type of content does actually take a lot of time to make because it's very difficult to go viral, but it's actually finding the right mindset to get high paying clients. Okay, making the right type of content to attract the right clients. So you may not be getting hundreds of thousands or millions of views, but you're actually making money, which is what matters at the end of the day, right? So let's go ahead and jump in right now. I'm going to take you into the computer and we are going to look at exactly how to do this. So number one, you really want to understand that there's a massive myth that a lot of people fall for, and that is the myth that viral content equals success on YouTube. And this is just total okay, this is absolute BS. Pure, unadulterated BS. Viral content does not equal success on YouTube. And I can show you so many different examples of this. The first example I'm going to show you, we're going to jump ahead for just a quick moment here. The first example I'm going to show you is Pat CC. So this guy is a super successful, successful YouTuber in terms of getting views. And he's a really cool guy. I like him. He has 2 different channels. One of them is kind of like a rap channel, and the other one is basically reviewing different videos. So kind of like a reaction channel. And he actually posted that he only made $25,000 this last year from his channel that has over 2 million subscribers. And yeah, that's rough, man. That's rough. And you would think a channel with over 2 million subscribers, oh, he's probably making like $1 million a year at least, right? At least $1 million a year. No, he made $25,000 last year. But most people, if you were to show them his channel, they would guess like, oh yeah, he's making 100,000 views, a year at least, like $1 million a year, maybe even 100,000, 200, 300,000 a month, right? That's what most people think. So it's easy to think that going viral is the key to making money on YouTube, and a ton of views equals massive income. But that is just not the case. Viral videos often result in a spike in views, but sustained revenue comes from a targeted audience and valuable products. So yes, going viral every once in a while, if you have your business set up, if you have your YouTube channel set up in the right way, you can capture those people that come in and your top of funnel content and then bring them into the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel if you have everything set up in the right way. But if you don't have that middle of funnel and bottom of funnel content set up where people actually have a reason to buy from you, they don't just have a reason to casually watch your videos a little bit, then you're going to have a really hard time making money, right? So the truth is to focus on targeting the right audience and prioritize profitability over virality. Now, down the line, once you have a bigger channel and once you have that base set up, you've got your foundation set up, in that case, you might consider going more mass market and making more mass market content. But in this video, we're really going to cover why specifically for B2B content and really just anybody targeting a sophisticated audience, AKA an audience that would buy like high ticket products, right? Anybody targeting a sophisticated audience, it's the real moneymaker, not just chasing viral moments, right? So let's just give an example. Pat CC, it's the guy I mentioned before, made $25K in 1 year from a 2.2 million subscriber channel. Dan Bolton makes $25K in 1 week from a 5,000 subscriber channel. Okay, he even says it right here, $25K per week in profit. That is the difference, right? Now, why is this? Because Dan Bolton makes niche content, okay? And he makes that content for a targeted audience of high ticket buyers, right? High ticket, sophisticated, okay? Sophisticated buyers. And Pat CC makes mass market content, and he makes the content for low ticket, right? He's not selling high ticket. It's low ticket. So that's a problem, right? So he's not monetizing correctly. He's making content for the an audience of people that don't have that much money. It's mass market. And Dan Bolton, on the other hand, he's making niche content and he's selling high ticket to a sophisticated audience. Now, let's talk about exactly how to do this, right? So key points. Let's talk about the real business of YouTube. So let's look at some statistical insights. 70 to 80% of companies that reach $1 billion valuation are either B2B or they're B2B to C. So B2B would be literally like selling stuff to other businesses. And then B2B to C would be kind of like Facebook is an example of that. So Facebook technically sells, like the way they make money is by other companies putting ads on their platform, but they do have to get people on their platform for other companies to be able to put ads, right? So that's an example of B2B to C, is like something like Facebook. YouTube is another B2B to C. But in reality, where they're actually getting the money is from businesses. It's B2B, right? So they're really not, if you're going to pick one or the other, it's B2B, it's not B2C. Right? So 70 to 80% of companies that reach $1 billion valuation are B2B or B2B to C. And the companies that scale massively aren't just targeting regular consumers. They're focusing on business clients, often with higher budgets, long-term contracts, and recurring sales. So only 20 to 30% of billion-dollar companies are pure B2C. That's business to consumer. So very, very tiny amount, even though most businesses are B2C. Like the vast majority of businesses are B2C, but a very tiny amount are pure B2C. And this shows that the real money isn't just in selling to consumers, but in offering products and services that businesses need to operate and grow. So just as an example, Salesforce. Basically, it sells to businesses. So let me just scroll out here. So it's B2B, sells to businesses. Netflix, B2C. And if you look at the numbers here, Salesforce has about 150,000 clients. Okay, 150K clients. Netflix has 300 million memberships. So you could say clients, but memberships, 300 million memberships. So 150K clients, and they make about 250K per client. Okay. Whereas Netflix makes about $120 per year per user, right? So both of these companies make approximately the same amount of money. In fact, Salesforce makes a tiny little bit more, right? Salesforce, about 34 billion. Netflix, 33 billion. Right? So 150K clients versus 300 million memberships. Which one do you think is easier to get to? Because this is literally 2,000 times more people. They have to make 2,000 times more sales to get to that level versus the B2B client. Right? So I guarantee you it is easier to sell one thing for 150K versus selling 2,000 things for $120. I promise you, it is significantly easier to sell one thing for 150K than to sell 2,000 people on a $120 product. It is significantly easier. And this is why most companies that make a lot of money, they get to that $1 billion valuation, are B2B. Because it's just way easier to sell to people who actually have money. And if you're selling to people who don't have money, AKA B2C, you got to sell a ton of people, and that requires massive infrastructure, and it requires you to hire a ton of people, and it's just way, way more difficult. Now let's talk about YouTube's dominance by B2C. So the reality check here is, why does YouTube seem to be dominated by B2C content? Well, the most visible channels on YouTube are focused on consumer content, tech reviews, lifestyle vlogs, etc. And these are typically B2C channels, and they target broad general audiences. And while these channels may gain millions of views, views alone don't guarantee long-term profit. They often struggle with low ad rates and fierce competition in saturated markets. And so the myth equals YouTube views equals big money. That is just not true. I showed you an example of Pat CC up here, and he's not the only one, right? There's tons and tons of examples. Like, respect to him for actually coming out and revealing his income. I respect that a lot. I respect his transparency. But he's not the only one. There's tons of other big YouTubers that you think are successful that are not making money. Sometimes I even consult with them. I've had dinner with them. Et cetera, et cetera. Of course, I'm not going to name them unless they come out with it publicly, but it's pretty well known in the YouTube world. And while viral content brings attention, it's targeted high-value content that actually leads to consistent revenue and business growth. Now, by the way, guys, if you want this mural board and more mural boards, go ahead and click the link down in the description and the pinned comment below, and you'll get access to this mural board as well as a bunch of other ones that really help when it comes to figuring this stuff out. And a lot of the time, it's kind of like a step-by-step guide.
Quick break. This video is sponsored by me. Most of you don't know that I actually have my own coaching program on personal branding and then growing and making money on YouTube. And this is good for complete beginners, maybe even people who just want to get a job by growing their personal brand, all the way up to people who are very advanced on YouTube. And they get to work directly with myself and my team to help them reach their goals. Now, we are opening up 3 to 5 spots, and this is pretty rare. We usually don't have these open. We usually only limit them to select people. But we're opening up 3 to 5 spots, and you can check those out down in the description and the pinned comment below. And in this program, you'll get to work directly with myself and other people who are highly successful on YouTube. Just as an example, Sean was able to go all the way from being stuck, not making very much money on his channel, to making over $500,000 a month. Now, that's an example of one of my more advanced students, but there's lots of examples of people who started off from scratch and they got to 5K a month, 10K a month, etc. So check that out down in the description and the pinned comment below.
So let's look at the total people in the US. There's about, I'd say, like 350 million people in the US, and about 200,000 of them are CEOs, right? So this actually kind of aligns pretty similarly to the B2C versus B2B, right? 200K CEOs, 150K clients for B2B, and then 350 million people and 300 million memberships, right? So the ratios actually align pretty well. So yeah, there's 350 million total people, and there's about 200,000 CEOs in the US. Now, of course, there's other people that maybe make a little bit of money, but they don't call themselves CEOs. They're like business owners, etc. But that just goes to show, if you're just targeting this audience, there's only 200,000 CEOs. Well, guess what? Your videos aren't going to be getting millions of views because there's only 200,000 CEOs. So your videos are likely going to be getting, hundreds or even a few thousands of views per video, but they're getting the right views. Okay. That's what's important. You're getting the right views from the right people, because you're targeting a B2B audience and you're getting views from CEOs or maybe C-suite executives or that type of thing. B2B channels are quietly succeeding, right? Just as an example, Charlie Morgan, he's making about 7,000 per 1,000 views. This is a study that I did basically where I looked at a bunch of different channels that did income reports or went on podcasts and revealed their incomes, et cetera, et cetera. I looked up the date that they did it, and then I looked at their channel, how many views they were getting, and then I basically calculated their total revenue per 1,000 views. And English with Lucy, she's making less than $50 per 1,000 views, okay? And she is getting like millions and millions. This is with 12 million subscribers. She gets like tens of millions of views per month. Charlie Morgan, $7,000 per 1,000 views, and monthly revenue is over $1 million, right? It's actually over $1 million, right? So this is why he's targeting more of a B2B audience. Now, is he targeting like pure CEOs? I'd say he's targeting somewhere kind of in between basically people that are kind of maybe they've made their first, few $1,000s online. Maybe they're making a few $1,000s a month and they're trying to scale up. So kind of like that in-betweener where it's not quite B2B, but it's not quite B2C as well. He's targeting those people, but it's definitely more on the B2B side, right? Whereas English with Lucy, she is targeting definitely B2C, definitely targeting B2C. And so, it's a lot harder for her to make money. And she's making like 50 actually is on the high side. I think it's like far, far lower than $50 per 1,000 views. But yeah, $50 would be on the high side for her. And you can see that is literally what, 140 times more. So he's making 140 times more for every eyeball that is on his channel. He's making 140 times more dollars. Like that's pretty good. So you can kind of see the ratio is holding pretty true here, right? And then prediction. My main channel, this is Shane Hummus Content Growth Engine. It's got around 5,000 subs right now. This is my main channel, over 1 million subs. I believe that my B2B channel will eventually outperform my B2C channel, right? My B2B channel with 5K subs, obviously it'll have more, but I think it'll definitely happen within 2 to 3 years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens within the next 1 year. I'm seriously would not be surprised if my tiny little 5,000 subscriber channel that targets pure B2B, I'm just basically talking to like CEOs, executives, business owners, etc. I'm very confident that this channel will actually pass up my second channel within the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm fairly confident that it'll pass it up within a year. Why? Because the B2B market has higher purchasing power, less competition. My second channel focuses on business-related content, which attracts viewers who are willing to spend more on premium products or high-value services. And the profit isn't just about having millions of subscribers. It's about targeting the right people with high-ticket products that solve significant problems. And so, AKA, this is like the 70 to 80% of businesses that do big money, right? That are worth, 100 million or even $1 billion, right? And when you're playing in the big leagues, when you're trying to make a lot of money, it's actually easier to make money at a lower level with B2B, and it's easier to make money at a higher level with B2B too. All right, number 3, practical advice, how to make more money on YouTube. Let's talk about how to do this. So I'm going to give a few examples of some of my clients and some people that do this well. So basically you want to target business owners or professionals. So this is B2B right here. And I like to call this B to small b because it's kind of like targeting like business owners that maybe they're making like less than 10K per month. Like maybe they don't even have a stable business. So that's B2B channel. This one here is B2C, but it's sophisticated, right? So this is I'll call it B2P, right? B to professional, right? So professionals or business owners. And why is this? Because he's helping people get into management consulting, which is a very high paying job, right? And it includes industries like finance, cybersecurity, tech services, healthcare, et cetera. Basically, if you're helping somebody get into a very high paying job, a job where they're making as much as some business owners make, then that basically counts as B2B, right? So if you're helping people become executives, if you're helping people become management consultants, get into finance, that kind of thing, like those people are like, it's like borderline B2B, right? So it's B to a sophisticated audience or B to a professional audience, right? So you could also do B2C, business to premium consumer, premium consumer. So you can target premium consumers here. Let's see, it's like there we go. Mess it up then. And people who can afford luxury goods, right? So high-end services, exclusive experience. Think about industries like finance, real estate, health and wellness, expensive tech products, et cetera, et cetera. So you're basically targeting people who have like a good amount of money, right? So it might not be the CEO, but it might be like the wife of the CEO, right? If you're doing luxury goods. So these people might be willing to pay higher prices for premium content, services, or products because they value quality over price. And they also value, this is something that's really important to understand, time. and convenience. Okay. These are the two really big things that B2B clients value: time and convenience. They want to get an outcome, right? They want to get an outcome, but they want to get that outcome without having to spend too much time or issues, right? And they want that outcome conveniently and without having to spend too much time, right? That's what they want. And so an example in the finance niche would be Max Meyer, and an example in the real estate niche, or I guess also the finance niche, would be Graham Stephan. So both of these guys do target business to consumer, but they are a little bit more mass market, and that works for them. But they do tend to target people who are a little higher earning, right? So Graham Stephan kind of targets like millennials or older people, people that tend to be a little higher earning. And then same with Max Meyer. You can kind of see in the way that they talk that they target a little bit higher earning B2C markets. So, obviously one big thing that I should say here is, it's quite obvious, is they're targeting an American audience. Okay. And that makes a lot of sense because Americans make a lot of money, right? So American audience, you definitely want to target a first world English speaking audience. Okay, first world English speaking audience. And then prioritize high ticket products, right? High ticket equals higher profits. Now, I will say, in a very advanced industry like finance, it doesn't matter as much. But in almost any other industry, higher ticket is better, right? So just focus on high ticket items that offer great value to your audience. For example, premium courses, consulting services rather than $20 ebooks or courses with little value. High-end coaching, it's another one you can do. And then also, SMMA, agency, etc. All right. And so here's an example of someone who's kind of selling low ticket. He has a ton of subscribers and he's selling kind of like a $37 a month membership. And it's kind of just like, it's rough, right? It's really rough. And, I think this guy, he has a really young audience. So I think most of his audience are teenagers. And so they don't really have money. Okay. They don't really have money. So he kind of has to monetize with low ticket. Right? He doesn't really have a choice. Whereas Tony Robbins, this man has an audience full of like CEOs. He's got execs, right? He's got executives. He's got athletes, like professional freaking athletes, stars, and just high achievers in general, right? High achieving people like to follow Tony Robbins. And so he's able to literally just say like he doesn't even hide it. Like, it's $10,000 just to attend his seminar. And then at his seminar, he'll sell you to the higher ticket thing. And he's like totally open about this stuff, right? He's not even trying to hide it. So it's $10,000 just to attend his seminar, which is basically like, it should, give you some value for sure. But at his seminar, he's then at the end going to upsell you to a higher ticket thing, right? And people are okay with that because $10,000 isn't that much to CEOs, executives, athletes, stars, and high achievers, right? So, Tony Robbins, additionally, he's been around for a while, so most of his audience is on the older side, right? So they actually tend to have money. Another thing to understand about your audience and having more money is, I'm not sure of the exact statistic, but I believe over 50 years old has over 80% of the wealth in the US. So over 50-year-olds have over 80% of the wealth in the US. So what does that tell you, right? So he probably has a lot of over 50-year-olds following him because he's been around for a really long time. And so therefore, he has a significant, his audience has a significant amount of the wealth, and $10,000 is not a big deal to them. All right, they might have been thinking about doing it for like 20 years, and finally they're like 20 years later, all right, I'll do that program. And then just try to avoid low ticket products as your primary way of making money. Okay. Now, if you want to do low ticket as a secondary way of making money, Like for instance, if you want to upsell to high ticket from low ticket, that's actually a really, really good strategy. Okay. But you really have to have you really have to know what you're doing. Just as an example, one of the most effective strategies right now is you sell a low ticket and then you have your sales team immediately call them. Like we're talking within 5 minutes. Okay. And make sure that they're very clear on what the outcome the person wants is and how happy they are with the product and, if they need any support, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you start that conversation with them right after they buy the product. And then over time, after they get the results they want from the product, or sometimes even right on the spot, you upsell them to the high ticket product. But the key is you have to have a sales team that calls them within 5 minutes, and you really have to have just amazing processes. Okay, you got to have insanely good processes for this to work, because it's not just the sales team. You got to have email, you got to have like all kinds of stuff, like ways of keeping up with your clients. This is very complicated. And a lot of people don't even go straight to the high ticket. They might start with low ticket and then they go to like medium ticket and then like a high ticket and then, like super high ticket. So it's just like this value ladder, and it's just really complicated. Okay, it's super, super complicated, and it's just going to be a never-ending headache for you. And so if you don't know how to do, just stick with high ticket. Okay, Peter McKinnon, for instance, sells photography presets and merch, and that's very low ticket, right? And I can tell you that he would be able to charge a premium for a photography or a videography mastermind. And some of the like best photographers, best videographers in the world who have money, by the way, these wouldn't be like people who don't have money. They would like absolutely pay a premium to go and like shoot photos, shoot videos with him, and he can just instruct them, right? No doubt in my mind, if he did high ticket, he could make a ton, like way, way, way more money. And maybe he is doing it on the back end, who knows? But that would be a way for him to make probably like 5 times the revenue.
What's happening, guys, in the editing process of this video, and I have an opportunity for a select group of people. So these are people who are serious about growing their personal brand on YouTube. So basically, we figured out recently how to grow a personal brand and combine all the upsides of a personal brand with the upsides of automation, right? Using AI, using things like this to basically grow your personal brand 10 times faster, which in the past used to take decades to do. And now you can do it significantly faster. And you can do this to get a better job. We work with beginners that just want to get a better job with their personal brand. You can do this to make money as a side hustle. We work with a lot of people like that. We can do this to make more money if you already have a side hustle or a small business. Or if you're already crushing it on YouTube, we can help you crush it 10 times more. We've worked with people like that as well. I mean, I literally can show clients at each level, people that we've gotten from 0 to over 10K, 0 to like over 30K, from like 1K per month all the way up to 185K per month, from around 30K per month all the way up to over 500K per month. So literally at every single level, and it works for everyone in every situation. With that being said, we are only working with 3 to 5 people, and they have to be people who are very serious, right? People who are dedicated to making this work. So if you think you're that type of person, go ahead and apply it down in the description and the pinned comment below, and you can be part of our group of 3 to 5 that we help. So see you there. Have a good one.
So yeah, just to recap, guys, profitability is better than virality. Just, as a little, honestly, as a little experiment, next time you're going around in the world, just look at the brands that you see, right? You're going in an elevator, look at the elevator brand. You look at your aircon, like look at the aircon brand. I got Toshiba up there. You look at like, even other stuff like lights or something, right? The light bulbs. Look at the light bulb brand, and then just go in. Paper. You're dealing with paper. There's some paper on my desk here. Then just go like look those companies up online, right? And see how much they make. And especially you'll be surprised, especially the ones that are B2B. Right? Companies, for instance, that do like elevators, right? That's a B2B company, because the only places that have elevators are other businesses, right? Those are the only places that would be installing elevators. And so look how much those companies are making, and you've never heard of them, right? You've probably never heard of the company a single time. And then look at like the top 10 companies that do elevators in the world and see how much those companies are making. They're making a ton of money. They're making way more than like some type of fancy, social media, type, like something like something that looks like it's super fun. It's like a super sexy, super fun business to make. They're making way more than like 99% of those businesses. Of course, there's like a 1% business that's like super fun and super sexy to make that does actually, you know, get to like $100 billion. But there's so many of these businesses making like $1 billion, hundreds of millions of dollars that are just boring as hell, right? And they're usually B2B, you know, paper companies. Where do they sell most of their paper? To businesses, right? Just as an example, right? So these are usually like B2B companies. And it's the same exact thing on YouTube, guys. There's lots of channels that are tiny, that are absolutely crushing it on YouTube that you wouldn't even know. And it's just way easier for you to make money with a tiny channel that's just targeting a niche audience and just making super valuable content for that niche audience, right? And so find a profitable audience and then offer valuable high-ticket products and solutions to them. And focus on B2B or premium B2C, or just get as close to B2B as you can, or as close to premium as you can, right? Even like, you know, clients that I've worked with that are in like teaching English niche, I've worked with some clients there. A lot of the time you can still offer higher ticket, right? You just need to find the right pocket of your audience to offer the higher ticket to, right? And that is definitely something that you can do, and you can, you know, it can be a very effective strategy for you. You just need to do it correctly, okay? So if you are a business owner, specifically a busy business owner, we're talking a coach, consultant, online service provider, or agency owner. Or if you are a YouTuber that is on the struggle bus, okay? You're struggling with monetizing, you're struggling with like spending too much time making YouTube videos, you're struggling with not being able to hire the right people, etc. So if you're in either of these cases and you want to grow, monetize, and automate your channel to where you have a channel that is making really good money, right? It's monetizing, it's growing rapidly, and it's relatively hands-off. It's not taking all of your time. Then go ahead and book a call, okay? Book a call with myself and my team down in the description and the pinned comment below, and we will take care of you, okay? It'll be a valuable call whether or not we end up working together or not. We'll figure out where you are right now, where you want to go to, a plan to get there, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. So don't miss out on it. Book a call in the description, the pinned comment below. We'll take care of you. And also, check out this video I did right here of a client who was in a niche where they were targeting too much of a mass market audience, and they were able to narrow that down and target the right people. And not only did they get more views, but they also made way more money. And that client is Nicole. So check that out.